in the second goal, we had the opportunity to see Ibsen being Ibsen in a good way.
What? Whoa.
Yes.
Back up.
The
Ibsen was actually good.
The 10% of his career with Minnesota United.
Yes.
Where he was good.
Wow.
Okay, that might be rough. But, he had a fantastic through ball to Abu Dinladi, which, Abu's back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Another positive. Yeah. And Abu took it right down the left side.
Borderline offsides. It was very close.
Yeah.
But,
and that's another thing to sidestep. The VAR.
They used it there.
It was perfect because it was not clear and obvious, and they let it stand.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. I mean, you look at it, and it kind of looks like he might be offside, but it's at an angle.
Yeah.
So you don't have that line.
Here's what I want to know. I think if they're going to review an offsides play like that, and the replays that they showed on TV are not good enough for VAR, in my opinion. If you're going to use VAR to review offsides, it better be equal with a goal. You better be looking right down the line because you can't judge an offsides at an angle. Right. Because if you're looking at it, at this angle versus that angle, you're going to see it differently.
Yep.
So there's only one way to review an offsides, in my opinion.
And my feeling with VAR, just to kind of go into it a little bit, is that I think you're going to see VAR be extended to even more cameras. I got a feeling that MLS is going to try to put cameras at different locations around the field and make it so when they're looking at VAR, they have 8 different angles they can look at. Kind of like Dave, I think kind of like NFL does the same thing. They have cameras. How many cameras do they have? They do replay. They must have like 8 or 10.
I couldn't even tell you, but there's a lot. But that's my point. When they're reviewing goal line, because they review all scoring plays in the NFL, they've got a camera that is right down that line. And I assume that MLS has the same thing, but I'm talking about offsides. Offsides can occur anywhere.
Yeah.
So I feel like you almost need an overhead or an angled view that can see the entire field.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up because I was thinking, I don't think it was the LA game. I think it was a previous game that soccer would really benefit from having the NFL's overhead cam.
Yeah.
Because it obviously moves everywhere. The entire basically. I think it's hash mark, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Go sideline.
Yeah, it is.
And so it's like that alone. If it's following the play, it's going to have a better view. It might have a better view of that.
And I was saying is, I think we'll see that in the next couple of years. I think VAR with MLS will be even better next year and better the year after that because we'll get more camera angles, we'll get different technology, so that when you have an offsides play, they'll look at it and say, okay, we've got 6 different angles for offsides. Let's look at all 6. Right. Oh, yeah, this is the angle that we're looking at, and this is where he was offsides or he wasn't offsides. Yeah. Whereas right now, I think you might have, for an offsides, you might have 1 angle, maybe 2.
Yeah, it's usually about 2.
Yeah,
I agree.
You're going to get to that.
I agree. I brought it up last episode. I mean, love it or hate it, right at the moment, VAR, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's here to stay, and it's going to get better. So even though, everybody can complain about it.
I think through all sports, I think instant replay is pretty much here to stay, whether you like it or not. And it can be a great thing and it can be a terrible thing, depending on how it's used and depending on what angles you have and where your cameras are at. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And I think it'd be pretty easy for soccer. Obviously, these cameras are insanely expensive, but to be able to just have a camera on the end line, a camera at the 18-yard box, maybe a camera about 30 yards, camera at midfield, and then same all the way down. Just to have those angles, because really you're still going to have the angle where you're going to be like, well, is that really off? But if you have a camera literally every, 15 yards, I think that's going to cut down a lot on offside calls.
Well, I just got an idea. You have everybody in the stands with their cell phones, just hold their cell phones up the whole game with their video on. That's VAR right there for you. You buy a ticket, you have to be on VAR. That's the deal. That's the way it works. Could you imagine? Everybody with their cameras like, hey, that's all right.
But now, spinning it back to that, because we want to talk, we want to get back into the United second goal, and spinning it back to where, Ibsen had placed it beautifully to Dinladi. And then, David, why don't you describe the finish of that goal? Because we got it to Dinladi on the right side.
Yeah, so we, of course, had Rodriguez. He's just booking it right down the center of the pitch. And he was pulling 2 defenders, and honestly, I think it was... I can't think of their names. Yeah, he's a big dude. And so he had 2 center backs coming in, and so that left our left, their right flank, wide open, and Pontius was basically way back. He allowed Romario to get around him. And so all of a sudden, their center backs, Romney and the other guy that I cannot for the life of me think of his last name, to pick between Rodriguez or the guy that's barreling down the flank. And they picked Rodriguez because obviously he's the bigger guy.
Yep.
He's most likely to get there. And so I loved it because Romario looked like a wide receiver running down the sideline. His hand is up. You could actually hear him yelling on the broadcast.
Nice.
And he's just running with waving his hand. And Dinladi saw, whatever. He put a perfect low cross through the box, just yard in front of the keeper, a couple of yards in front of Rodriguez. There was no chance. I mean, had Romario missed that shot, it would have been mayhem.
And let me ask you this: if I mean, it looked beautiful on the broadcast, on watching it on TV, it was amazing. But if he was a half step behind, would he have made that goal?
I don't think he would have.
It banged off the post,
crossbar,
and then went in. But if he was just a half a step behind or ahead, would that have gone in?
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, I think it should have gone in, but the way he struck it, it was very close.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he put it in a position where the goalkeeper had no chance, but I think from where he was, he could have put it in a safer position to score that goal. But.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was possible to get. So, that was our second goal. Obviously, we need to go to a negative again in our El Capitan's red card.
Yeah.
I get it. A lot of people were really pissed that he did that, and I'm not trying to be biased towards Calvo or anything. I'm upset that he did it, but at the same time, I get why he did it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think I would have done the same thing, but I'm not the captain of the Minnesota United.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slayton drew at least 2, I think it was 3 yellows on super weak calls. Calvo was one of those yellows.
That's how he got his first yellow
card. And it was barely a foul, let alone a yellow.
Right.
And then the incident, I think, was a yellow, wasn't it? Wasn't it a yellow on Schuler or something?
It was, yeah.
And so Calvo picked up the ball, complained to the referee, and then tossed it.
Yeah.
Yellow for time wasting. Second yellow gone.
We aren't complaining about that. Calvo's second yellow. It was a yellow card.
Plain, yeah.
But
flat out yellow.
To say I didn't watch the game, but to get a second yellow when you're the team captain, you have a responsibility.
Oh yeah.
To be better than that,
and
I understand why he
and situational awareness.
Yeah.
It's your first of 4 road games. You're on a tough stretch of Western Conference opponents, and Calvo's defense, he's needed. He can't
be out.
Be giving cards away like that.
Agree.
I mean, if he was not on a yellow card, if he was going into that clean, and he wants to do that to make a point to the referees, that's fine. But he knows he's on a yellow.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to get another yellow, and therefore he knows he's going to be not only out for the next 15 minutes of the game, but he's going to be out for Dallas.
Yeah, exactly.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, and
So I think Twitterverse was right to complain about it.
Reading the things I read after this week about that, again, like I said, you're the captain of this team. You're responsible for not doing shit like that. I'm sorry, you
Right.
just can't do it.
Right.
If you don't want to be the captain anymore and you want to do that shit, go for it.
Right.
No,
You want to give your captaincy to whoever you want to and do that, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But you cannot do, you have responsibility to this team not to do
Right.
it.
He's the guy. He's wearing the armband. He should be going over to his teammates if somebody else does something like that and says, "Stop it.
Exactly
we
right.
need you. We need you. We can't risk."
Exactly.
Well, what he should have done, because my knowledge of these rules is a little off. In the Premier League, the captain's the only one that's supposed to talk to the referee. So I don't know if MLS has adopted that or not, but he should have dropped the ball, gone over to the referee, and stated his case and been like, whatever you need to say. Now, obviously, again, theoretically, captains aren't supposed to be reprimanded for talking back to the ref, but I think he would have been potentially risking a yellow there too.
Yeah.
But that's his job as captain. If he gets a yellow for bitching at the referee for a stupid call, I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
Because the referee has the discretion to pocket it. He's the captain. He's arguing their case. Okay, leave it alone. But yeah, a ball or time wasting like that with throwing the ball, it's completely unacceptable, especially for a captain.
As a captain in that situation, what you should do is you should drop the ball, talk to the refs, make your case, and then walk away.
Yep.
That's it. You know you already have a yellow. Walk away.
Yep.
It's just the way it works.
Yeah, and it puts a black eye on the fact that the United finally got a draw, a point on the road. They've finally done it. It'd been since March since they've gotten any result on the road.
Yep.
They finally did it, but it just ruined it because now going into the next game you don't have Calvo.
Yep.
So
statistically, obviously the game was 2-2.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, it was heavily lopsided to LA.
It was, yeah, and that's another reason why it's just so frustrating that Calvo got his red card because they got a draw on the road, and it was a good result because, Dave, you're right. Possession was 61-39 in favor of LA. 19 shots versus 10 shots, and it was a mismatch on paper, and yet they got their point.
Yeah, they get
which
their
is what
point.
you need to do.
Yes,
They get their point, but what I'm going to say right now is, it was great they got their point, but with the Loons, it always seems like, there's a great thing about this game, but then the bad thing about it is we lose Calvo for the next freaking game.
And on top of that, we lost Warner
Yes.
for the next game because of accumulation.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good segue into last night's game.
Yeah.
We went into Dallas, the second best team in the West, a team that is beatable at home, but they're on a 2-game losing or almost a losing streak.
well,
And it's one of those things where I think, in terms of my view, this road trip we needed 7 points,
Yeah.
and so we have one. We have 4 games left. Another point would be fantastic,
Yeah.
especially with the fact that Seattle's now won 5 straight
How is that possible?
or 6 straight. I
and
think it
they
is.
took care of business against was it LA?
LA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
and so we've got Seattle, who's completely flown over us. Vancouver regained their lead over us because of their win a few weeks ago against us, and we've got Houston. No. We've got somebody behind us that has a game in hand. We've got Salt Lake, who just got beat by LAFC, who's in front of us. I mean, we have to get a point on the road every single game.
Yes. Dude.
And so now we're going in, no captain, no central midfielder.
Wait a minute though. Yeah, okay, we don't have Calvo, but still, we have DQ. We have Darwin Quintero going into Dallas. No problem. We'll score enough goals offensively. You can still be optimistic.
And then what happens this week?
What happened?
Calf injury.
Yeah.
And where did
Darwin
that
doesn't
come
even
from? So
travel.
obviously it came out of LA because there was no mention
yeah.
of a calf injury beforehand. So
And so now not only are we captainless, we're without Warner, who's done well. Now we're without Quintero. My God. I mean, I was like, John said we were going to win
Well, yeah, I was
And
gonna.
I was like, I have
which was
no.
bullshit.
I was gonna bring that up. Actually, our text messages.
Yeah.